Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow Room. Yeah, and today, as we work backwards through the eyes, we have Vincent d'Indy, a good chunk of Vincent d'Indy, actually, because his music was, well, he wrote a lot. He was the successor at the Scuola Cantorum to César Franck, and he was the arch-Franckian after Franck, the post-Franckian, if you want to call him that. He was a heavy-duty French Wagnerian. His music is thick and chromatic and slushy and kind of like Franck without the tunes. And I wax hot and cold on his music. There's some pieces I love, some pieces that just, leave me sort of wondering why he bothered. But let's go through this and see what we've got, because he wrote in all media. He wrote big, fat Wagnerian operas, and colorful orchestral pieces and symphonies, and he's sort of he was kind of a second-rater, but a good second-rater, I think. Whether you particularly care for him or not, he was a force, and he trained everybody who came later, like everybody from like Roussel on up. He was their teacher, and he lived from, well, when did he live from? I don't know. He lived from somewhere. Oh yeah, he lived fairly long, 1851 to 1931. There we go. So we've got, let's see. Oh, this is a fun disc conducted by my late friend Antonio de Almeida, with the National Symphony Orchestra of Ireland, and François-Joël Thiollier, piano, the Franck Symphonic Variations, the Forêt Ballade, and the d'Indy Symphony on a French Mountain Air, Symphony sur un chant montagnard français, also known as Symphony Cévenol. But it's a great piece. It used to be very popular. I mean, it was like the piece that kept his reputation going through much of the early 20th century, because the tune is a great tune. Da 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 dum, ya da 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 da, ya da 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 da, ya da da ba dum bum. That's the tune. And it's very difficult. I've told this story about how we did this in my community orchestra, and we had this hotshot Russian pianist who didn't think he needed to practice, and then we got close to the concert, and he quit because he couldn't learn it, because it's hard. It's really hard and brilliant and fun. I mean, if he'd called it a concerto, it would be popular. It's one of the great piano and orchestra pieces of the first half of the 20th century. It really is. But fortunately, we got French scholar, pianist extraordinaire Sylvia Cahan to come in and save our butts at the concert. Anyway, this is on Naxos, and it's just a fun record. They just go in there and play the daylights out of it. It's definitely worth hearing. Then we've got his second symphony and Souvenirs. This is James DePriest with the Monte Carlo Philharmonic on Koch. The second symphony's gotten a few more recordings since this, but this is quite a good one. It's a big, long, hairy, Franckian, chromatic sludge fest. It was composed around 1902, 1903. I never much cared for it, but I've started to like it more. The more you listen to it, it grows on you, sort of like a fungus, you know what I mean? And it's kind of fun. And then Souvenirs, poem for orchestra, 20 minutes of orchestral slush. But it's good slush. It's a good disc. I've always hung on to it because at the time when it came out, you really couldn't get a good sounding recording of the Second Symphony. So this was well worth having. Then we've got the Quatuor Joachim on 2 discs doing the complete string quartets. There are 3 of them. They are major works and major contributions to French chamber music. I mean, definitely worth hearing. And his Sextuor, Opus 92. Emmanuel Chabrier wrote, "It is admirable. I cannot put it too strongly. I know no one anywhere who is capable of setting up a quartet like that. It is a delight to your friends. Not only that, but it is also an honor to your country. And if Chabrier liked it, well, why don't we?" This was on the Calliope label, which is now owned by La Dolce Volta. And I'm not sure if it's ever going to get reissued or it was reissued, but these are fun performances of serious works that are worth looking into. So if you have a chance to hear the Dandy quartets, give them a shot. They're all symphonic in length, 30 plus minutes, and like, cyclical form, fun and games, you know the deal. Then we've got these orchestral things that were on EMI, featuring, different people. We've got Georges Prêtre doing the Poème des Rivages, Suite symphonique en 4 tableaux. So it's a symphonic suite in 4 tableaux, Calme et Lumière, and then La joie du bleu profond. Oh my goodness, the joy of the deep blue. Woo! Horizon vert, green horizons, and Le mystère de l'océan, the grand. Okay. So each one is a different place, a different shoreline, basically. Rivage. We've got the Mediterranean. Well, 2 of the Mediterraneans, Agay and Miramar de Mallorca, and then Falconara and the Adriatic, and La Grande Côte, Gulf de Gascogne, the Gulf of Gascony. So there's that. Then the diptyque Méditerranéen. It's a natural coupling, right? We have morning sun and evening sun. And that's it with the Monte Carlo Orchestra under Georges Prêtre. This is part of this EMI Esprit Français series. So it was good to get these things out. They've been recorded since then and in better sound. But at the time, like I said, these were exciting because there wasn't much you could get. Then we've got Pierre Dervaux, who's a wonderful conductor, by the way, with the Orchestre Philharmonique des Pays de Loire in the Jour été à la montagne, summer day on the mountain, which is kind of like Liszt's Ce qu'on entend sur la montagne goes to France. It's in 3 movements, dawn, day, and evening. L'après-midi sous les pins, afternoon in the pine trees. And the Tableaux de Voyage, 6 pieces for orchestra. Short, charming, enjoyable things. Dandy worked very hard to try to sound profound, and it usually didn't work too well. But if you take him just, as a colorist, there's a lot to enjoy. Then we've got Michel Plasson. Of course, this was at the big Plasson box. The Second Symphony again. And these were analog recordings, by the way, from like 19, it says ADD, 19, when were they recorded? 80, 76, and 82. And the Symphony on a French Mountain Air with Aldo Ciccolini. It's in the Ciccolini box. Of course, so if you have the big Ciccolini box, you have this. But that's nice to have. The Priest Second Symphony, I think, is a little better than the Plasson, because back in the 80s, that orchestra, which was the Orchestre du Capitole de Toulouse, it wasn't that they weren't a good orchestra. They were solid. They really were under Plasson, but they were often recorded in kind of a cavernous and mossy acoustic. And that prevented us from hearing them with the clarity that the music often required. Then we've got, this is the same thing, the Prêtre disc on Musical Heritage Society. So I just hung on to it because why not? And we've got some remakes. Well, this is nice. The Poème des Rivages, Istar, and the Diptyque Méditerranéen. Istar is a theme and variations in which the theme is only eventually revealed at the very end of the work. It's terribly anticlimactic, actually. I wish he'd sort of done it better, but it's fun to listen to. It is. The ending is kind of a letdown, but Istar was the other piece for which he was really very well known for 15 minutes at the beginning of the 20th century. And the other 2 works are also here. So this is the Luxembourg Philharmonic under Emmanuel Krivine, and that's plenty fun. So that's a big dandy thing, and really enjoyable stuff. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.